Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Hearts of Iron 4 tutorial series. This is episode 2, What is an Economy? I'll be telling you what is an economy and what general things of how it works are. First up, we'll talk about the most obvious way to... Civilian factories are your economy, essentially. The more you have of these, the more things you can construct in general. And, that's great. They usually take about half a year to build. This one with 60% infrastructure takes 188 days. When I have 9 civilian factories assigned to it. The percentage you see here is a percentage increase in the amount of time. I built it here, 200 days. Built it here, 188 days. That's how that works. Infrastructure has an additional benefit. If you build infrastructure in a province with materials, it will increase the materials in that province. Due to the nature of infrastructure, it's best to build really expensive things in high infrastructure provinces. For example, the difference between mill and here, the 50% mill, 134, 60%, 125, whereas you already saw the difference for Civ, which was a bigger difference. Lyon, 88 versus this, 200. There are other buildings you can build, of course. Air bases you use for airplanes. Every time you build one, it gives, I believe, 200 airspace per thing. So if you have 10 of them, it's 2,000. AA is self-explanatory. You build it, and then if they do an air zone in that area that you built them in, they will get shot down. Mills and naval factories, I already discussed in my previous video. Land forts and forts in general are a bit more interesting than other buildings because they have an additional cost per thing in that tile. So, in theory, it's better to not just do level 10 in this province. It would be better to instead do level 5 in foreign provinces around it. Obviously, the exception would be something like El Alamein, which is just the one tile, so you just want to only defend that. Also, a very important part of your economy, besides just factories, is the political power and focus tree. By default, it's 2, but obviously you're going to be selecting it and then having this. So, earlier, you saw it would take approximately 180 days to build Civ. If I click this focus, I would just get one for free in 70 days. If you're wondering what the add 1 building slots is, it's this. Currently, I have 2 building slots in this region, which means I could build 2 more. This focus here adds 1 Civ, but it also adds a building slot. So it adds 1 spot for me to build something in, but instantly fills it with a civilian factory. And depending on how big your nation is, the focuses like these could be very important. Another big part of your economy is the advisors you do. For example, that's very good, very important. Another important part of your economy would be your stability. Stability is more miscellaneous, but it will give you consumer good factories. Consumer goods is basically just a percentage of your economy the game takes away for depending on your economy law. Stability will reduce that up to 5% if you're at 100%. There are other ways to reduce it, such as higher laws, financial advisors if you have one of those, or war bonds in war. There's basically only one way to improve stability without some nations getting specific ways to do it, and that's with improving worker conditions. It's very valuable, and you want to do this basically every time it's on. Factory output makes factories have 10% more output for military reasons. I do not think that affects construction. Another part of the economy would be technologies. For example, the time on these would mean that the common strategy for just improving your economy would be to click this, and then whenever it's 1937 you click this, and you basically just stay up to date on your industrial technology, and that will provide you benefits. And this, having extra research speed makes this stuff go faster by a percentage, so obviously it's solid, but it's more of an indirect help to your economy. Also, there are trade laws, and I suppose I should go more into that, shouldn't I? I believe I only briefly talked about it last episode, but basically the higher you go with these, it gives you a bonus to construction speed. 15% on free trade, which is massive. It's a very big deal. So unless you really need those resources, it's always a good idea to do free trade, because 15% construction speed is the equivalent of being 1.5 technologies ahead of your opponents in terms of construction technology. Not to mention that it also improves research speed and factory output. Also, there are industrial concerns which you can use to further get technology easier, and yeah. Usually the things you would want to maximize in a game where you're trying to get industry is civilian factory construction speed, civilian factories, political power, stability, and research speed. Finally, there are occupied territories, which I will briefly mention here. Normally when you're occupying a territory, you only get 8% of the resources there. This can be increased with laws. For example, forced labor gives local resources plus 40%, and local factories plus 5%. That increases the resources you get and the factories you get, but obviously it has benefits that aren't very good besides that. Harsh quotas is the inverse of forced labor, but for factories. If you're communist, you get a special one called liberator workers, which is basically forced labor and harsh quotas combined, and the people are okay with it. It's a very good occupation law if you only care about getting the resources in that region. That concludes this video of episode 2 of the tutorial series, What is an Economy?